Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new episode of iGaming Sales Heroes video. And today I'm very happy to be with Cristian Acuna, Head of Sales LATAM at Play and Go. Hi, Cristian, how are you doing?
Hi, Domenico, how are you doing? Thank you for the invitation.
Very nice. So far, so good. Here, the situation is okay. Let's see how it will evolve in the next couple of weeks with all these events finally coming back. We were just discussing about the issue that we're facing with G2E, but let's be optimistic that something will change and will allow us from Europe to travel to the US and vice versa, actually.
That's right. At least in Latin America, the area I'm covering, some events are starting to pop up. They're having a decent amount of attendance. So yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to have a little bit more patience.
Let's see. So, Cristian, let's start with this video with the first question, which is basically, I'm always interested in knowing how the people that I'm interviewing started the career in sales and why especially they choose sales.
Yeah. So let's see, basically, I think just way back at the beginning, since I was a kid, I was always the one hustling and selling things to friends at school. So sales kind of became a little bit natural. Eventually, when I was in university, I also did a lot of freelance jobs. I was also hustling, trying to get along. So yeah, so the sales side started to evolve eventually, but I think it really kicked in more on a professional level when I was 22. I had an entrepreneurship, my own startup, me and a business partner. My business partner, he was in charge of production. It was a software development company, very focused on digital marketing. So I was in charge of sales, right? So I think that's when I got my first touch of sales. But I always like to say I'm a little bit more of a business development guy. Mm-hmm. And the difference between sales and business development for me is that sometimes the sales guy is like the pure hunter, the one that goes out and gets the sales, and business development is a little bit more focused to growing the company, growing a business. And when you're growing a business, you're not only growing revenue, but you're also growing the profitability of the company. You're a little bit in charge of profit and loss. Outwards, obviously, you see sales, but you also see networking, you see marketing, and inwards towards the company, you're managing, you could say, a little bit more of sales operations. So sales forecast, CRM, mm-hmm. How you integrate with operations. So yeah, so I've always been, since I've been an entrepreneur, when you're an entrepreneur, you got to do a little bit of everything. I tended to focus towards business development because you had to be more horizontal and cover a lot more things. So that's a little bit my personal brand. I like to see my sales role as horizontal and get involved inwards towards the company and outwards towards the market. But yeah, so after this entrepreneurship business that I had, it was started for about 4 years. I went on to work for a telecom company, which was pretty big, and they were a lot more organized. And then that's where I started to learn a little bit more discipline, add some discipline to my self-taughtness and
process.
Sorry?
Process.
Yeah. At the moment, you think you know it all, but now looking back, it's no, I knew nothing, and I was trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and yeah, and I still am trying to.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, in general, many people believe that sales is just a very small few sets of tasks, and that's it. Yeah. But while we all know that really and truly, if you are into this area, it's much more than that. It's about marketing. It's about business development. As you said, it's about negotiation. It's about politics. It's about so many aspects at the same time that is much more than sending a cold email out of the blue asking if they need our product. So I totally agree with you. So
well, that also has to do with the size of the company. Sometimes I've always preferred small and medium companies because that's where you get an opportunity to get involved in a lot more things. Sometimes in a larger company, you're more segmented to your specific responsibility. So it also has to, so I'm a sales guy, always B2B focused, and small and medium businesses is where
I totally agree with you, Chris. So then, because let's say you like this approach of being horizontal and touching different aspects of what we can define as a sales area, then what is the most challenging task you find while working on your daily activities, if any, of course?
Yeah. So I've always been very involved in the selling of technology, software development. Now we're in iGaming, specifically in the development of games, of
Mhm.
creative content and such. And I think the biggest challenge in everything that I worked on is the selling of innovation, right? So how can I say this? Selling innovation is its own recipe, because when you're selling a product that already exists, pretty much you have offer and you find somebody who has the demand, you make them meet, uh, define some commercials, and business is done. When you're selling innovation, it's new. That's what the word innovation means. So you have to go usually find a customer and create that need and then satisfy it, right? So you have to go to a customer and tell them, hey, you need this. No, I do not. He will answer, yes, you do. And you justify it. You have to create the need over time.
Yeah.
So the selling of innovation is very challenging because the loss ratio is a lot bigger. Maybe out of, if in normal sales you make 1 out of 5 sales, maybe in selling innovation, you make 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20. And obviously the sales cycle is much longer because you have this pre-sales instance in which you have to create the need to later satisfy it. So I think it's a big challenge to sell innovation, and but challenges is what keeps us going.
Yes, at
So
the end
so
of the day,
yeah,
it's
and
always it's all about creating values for our customers, and the value can also be something innovative that they did not think about it already. So
yeah,
I
and
agree.
a lot of customers say exactly that, like, hey, I want to be innovative. And then you offer them a product, and the first question is, who else has this? You say, well, if somebody else has it, it wouldn't be new and you wouldn't be innovating. So
Yeah.
some customers say they want to be innovative, but when the time comes, they're a little bit hesitant. So
But
you
let's
have
put
to
it this
work
way:
that
they
balance.
want to be innovator with somebody else back.
Yeah, somebody else being the guinea pig, huh? They want
Yes.
to hop on when it's ready. So yeah, and specifically in the gaming industry, it is a challenge to sell, and when you're in when there are a lot of compliance rules and regulated markets, there are rules to abide to that sometimes makes things a little bit slower, a lot more paperwork to be done, but it's part of the game, and you have to have that patience. You have to be structured, organized, and most of the time, customers on the other side are very collaborative as well. So yeah, the compliance side of iGaming for me was kind of new.
Mhm.
So, and it's proven to be a challenge to get sales done under that environment, but it's a challenge definitely worth doing. It's been a whole new
Yeah,
learning for me.
probably let's say Latin America still easier to certain extent on this
Yeah,
aspect in terms of regulation, but definitely the US is something on the opposite side, I would say. So I guess you have quite of some hard days
yeah,
to manage. I understand. So talking about challenges, Christian. Of
yeah.
course, you decide what you can reveal and to what extent. But I'm curious to know what was, in general, in your past history, the most challenging negotiation that you handled, and most importantly, how it was any, let's say, any trick, any something that you did that definitely changed the course of a difficult deal.
Yeah, let's see. I think one of the biggest challenges, I'm not going to say names, but
Mhm.
and this is obviously a pattern. It happens a lot of times. But before you go into a negotiation, you have to map out your strategy. You have to define what are your wants and needs, which are very different, and also what you're willing to sacrifice. So eventually, in a negotiation, you'll reach a point with a customer in which maybe you're not getting what you want. You're not your sacrifices are not being valued by the other side, and you're locked in a stage. And I think the hard part of a negotiation at that point is you have to be brave and sometimes be willing to walk away from a negotiation. It hurts because you've invested time, your legal team has invested time, your company's invested time, so have they. But sometimes you have to be able to walk away, play the long game, and say, hey, maybe this customer will come back in 6 months or 1 year. You have to have that patience, and sometimes you need your company to back you and say, hey, I dropped this deal because it wasn't good for us, or it wasn't the right time. Let's give it another go in a couple months. I think that that is a challenge that presents itself oftenly, and you have to handle it with a lot of, as I said, pre-planning. You have to plan before going into a negotiation so you can make the right decision and not make it a very like anxious or last minute decision.
Based on emotions,
based on emotion. So if you plan your negotiation beforehand and you walk in knowing all these factors, that is how you handle a tough situation in a deal, and you can make the right decisions. And it's happened in the iGaming industry, and it's happened for me in other industries as well. You have to go in prepared and know what chips you have, or when you play poker, you have to know what cards you have. And
well, I believe this is valid also when we discuss with our wives. Even though they are always right, we should go to a negotiation with them knowing already, all the aspects of the discussion.
That's right. You have to go unprepared, and obviously, you sometimes you might lose, but you have to pick the right customers, and that is a hard thing to handle, a hard thing to manage, and you learn it over time by being patient. You learn that the long game pays off, as it says in its name, in the long run.
Personally, I always believe that it's never a matter of yes or no, but it's just a matter of when.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it,
Because even if it's a no today, you never know what can happen in the future. So you always have to approach a potential opportunity knowing that even if they say no now, today, they might change their idea. Actually, it's very often to happen, especially to me personally, that I discussed with a potential customer that at the beginning decided to go with somebody else or decide not to proceed. And then after 6 months, after 1 year, even sometimes after 2 years, they come back, they want to discuss again. And we then find, let's say, all the right things in place to proceed. So if you have always this approach in your mind, also the way you manage a potential no is completely different.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And you couldn't have said it better. And that is a tough challenge, and you have to gain experience and have this discipline to be able to handle it when the time comes.
Yes.
I think we're on the same page on that. But
let's see. Very nice. Very nice. So Cristian, I'm seeing just behind you a lot of books, and I was wondering if because this is a question that I asked to everybody, and actually there are at the moment 2 main factions. Some people that they don't like or they don't read sales books, and some others that from time to time they like to read sales book, or let's say books that are related to body language or other aspects that are not strictly and entirely connected to sales, but they're kind of related to. So do you have any favorite sales book, or in general some books that you would like to suggest to us?
I have some. Let's see. I'm not going into technical sales books, so I read other types of books which I can associate to sales. And some are old things like Ogilvy on advertising. That for me is one of my favorite books. It's about it's a book from the 80s. From David Ogilvy, the owner and founder of the Ogilvy advertising agency. And just so much things that he says about from 40 years ago still apply today. How to create your brand, how to meet consumer expectations, how to take care of your consumers, how to sell, how to make promises. It's such a great book, and I recommend it to anybody today. And it's an easy and fun read. I just love that book.
Sounds interesting, and I will definitely put it in my very, very long wish list on Amazon.
This one is a fun one. You'll read it in a couple of hours, and it's very, very useful.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, another book, The Art of War. The Art of War is a book I've always enjoyed, and you can get some cool quotes from there that apply to any business situation or any life situation. It's a really good book. Another one, let's see, a little bit more recent that I've been reading. I read one called Storytelling with Data.
Okay.
A lot of people talk about storytelling, but we're in business, and we're in the IT business, software development, games, casino, a lot of numbers. You have to know how to justify your case, justify your product using numbers. So this book makes it really easy and it tells you how to tell a story using numbers, how how to not saturate, for example, a PowerPoint slide with lots of numbers, but just show exactly what you need for your story. It's a very good book, and that one is very recommended for not only salespeople, but anybody in the business world. Because yeah, I think we're well into the business world. I mean, people have been using PowerPoint or doing presentations or keynote speeches for 30 or 40 years now, and some people still don't get it right. And this book is just so simple and fun.
Very good.
Another one, recent read, is Measure What Matters, which is by John Doerr. He's the creator of the OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. It's basically a book about goal setting. It teaches you and your organization how to set goals and how the entire company or organization push everybody in the same direction. It's a really great book, and I highly recommend it. It's especially for everybody, from CEOs all the way to an intern. It's a great book to learn how to set your goals properly.
Very good.
And other than that, you mentioned it. I really love books about body language, a little bit of business psychology, I have another small book, I don't remember the title, of how to sit down in a business table, like who sits where or at any table. So all those things about body language and positioning and stuff like that, those are very useful books, and which I think still apply in today's business world.
Very nice. So to complete this interview, I always have my last question that is more for the listeners of these videos, which is basically, what are your tricks? What are the gaming sales hero tips that you can share with the people that are listening to us? Something that really people should write down on, to take as a note, and to from your based on your experience.
Yeah, I have two tips that I always give and I live by. One was shared to me by my best friend, and I don't know where he read it from, but it's a quote that says, "It's not what you're selling, but it's what they are buying." It's such a simple quote, but it includes so much. It includes listen more than you talk when you're selling, understand what the needs. You can't force a sale if you don't know what the problem is on the other side. So yeah, the sale is more about buying than selling. And a sales guy has to really, really understand and believe that if he wants to make sales. Another tip that I always give, and I apply to myself because I can't work any other way, is that you really have to feel proud of what you're selling. If you're not proud of the product or the company behind you, I'll tell you one thing, a customer will see right through you. He'll see right through you, and the only way you can sell a product you're not proud of is probably lying, and that'll come back and bite you in the rear eventually.
Yes.
So yeah, so you have to feel proud.
Let's say the people that, let's put it this way, I believe that the people that can sell products that they don't believe in are fraudsters, because they sell you something once, they disappear, never to be seen again, and that's it. Because otherwise, I totally agree with you, and I'm aligned with you. I could not imagine myself selling a product, not a product, let's say a company, not completely believing on it, because at the end of the day, and we know this quite well, it's our face.
Yeah.
Even more than our company's profile.
Yeah.
And we know that this industry is very small. We know that at the end of the day, in a couple of years, we all know each other. So the moment you go around selling something that you don't believe, and most probably it's not, let's say, performing, then it will just go against you, and you will basically very soon get out of the industry or get out of the business, because the word of mouth will circulate, and basically nobody else will want to do business with you.
Yep, that's right. So you have to feel proud, and if it's not for all the reasons you said, it's at least to be able to sleep well at night.
Yeah, that's another very important one, Cristian.
That's right.
I totally agree on this one. We all deserve to sleep well at nights.
That's right.
So thank you so much for this very nice and useful interview, Cristian. It was a really funny one. Please, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to follow us on the social media. And again, see you soon around, Cristian. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Domenico. Thank you for the invitation, and hope to see you soon in the next expo somewhere.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.